So let's start with the Lightning Web Component from the high level. So what does it really mean? Each time when we talk about Lightning Web Component, there are different things. Like we have a built-in UI, we have the framework, we have a compiler. There's all sorts of like a component belongs to the Lightning Web Component. Could you clarify this point first of all?
Yes. So what is really important in Lightning Web Components is actually the web components part. The idea behind this new framework is that we spent years working on Aura, creating the previous experience for developers on the Salesforce platform. But we had at that time to work with what was available in terms of web standards. And at that time, it was next to around 2014, the standards on the web weren't so mature. The reality was that we had to do a lot of things called abstractions on the JavaScript side. We had to simulate basically a templating engine so that we could integrate components together. And we had to do all of that with JavaScript running in a browser. So this was actually not very performant, and it wasn't really portable. So we had to adjust for every browser to make sure it would run seamlessly. Now, with the current web stack in 2019, we have a whole different landscape. We can actually leverage things that are called web standards. So we can use web components, that's the main one, but we can also use others like custom elements, decorators. This is really part of the new JavaScript ecosystem, and that allows us to have a really lightweight framework.
Okay.
That's redefining the way we build things.
You mentioned the web standard. What does it mean? Does it mean the browser already supports those features, built-in feature as one of?
Absolutely. So web standards are the different bodies that regulate how, for example, an HTML page is displayed, how CSS is structured, how JavaScript language is built. So there are different sets of web standards. You can look on the internet. This is, for example, W3C standards, which just dictates how web pages are rendered or DOM elements are composed. And then there's also TC39, which is the body that governs how the JavaScript language evolves. And this last body that has made a lot of changes in the last years, which allows us to have those web components, basically.